Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. The time is 4:02 p.m. The meeting of the KIPP Texas Board of Directors is now officially called to order. I am Lauren Gore, Secretary of the KIPP Texas Board of Directors, and I'm presiding over this meeting in person in Houston, Texas. I will now turn the meeting over to our board chair, Allison Thacker.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I was just having a catch up with a board member, and it's great to be here.
Just a quick amendment. This is an executive committee meeting, not a board meeting, which is what Lauren said. Just
Oh, yes, this is KIPP Texas Executive Committee.
for the record.
Okay, so board members on the executive committee present today are, please respond when I state your name. Gene Austin.
Here.
Lauren Gore. He's here. There he is. Pepe Guevara.
Here.
Gretchen Miller.
Here.
And myself, Allison Thacker. And for the record, a quorum is present. And I would also like to welcome KIPP Texas staff with us today. Seba Ali, Chief Executive Officer. I believe Vanessa Berry.
She is going to be joining in just a second, she said.
Okay, well, joining Sue there, I see Larry Gilleray, Chief Administrative Officer, Sun Han, our Chief Financial Officer, and Ellen Spalding, Legal Counsel. All right, so Gretchen, thank you very much for the edit catch on the minutes. We have clarified the time of day. So now that we have done that, could I have a motion to approve the May Executive Committee meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, the motion passes. The time is now 4:04 p.m. and we are going to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, deliberation regarding appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment of duties, dismissal of employees, officers, including the Texas Executive Team board members, and Texas Government Code 551.072, deliberate purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Okay, so I will see everybody in the executive closed session link.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again and
Just say welcome back, and the time is 4:49 and we're back in open session. And now Seba will share our agenda for the September board meeting.
thank you, Ms.
Amazing, Allison.
Chairwoman,
Your woman.
we're keeping us on track. All right, so this is what we are thinking for the board meeting in terms of how we'd like to operate, and would love your thoughts. Allison and I have been talking a lot about, rather than running the board meetings like we have been doing previously, where it's heavy in presentation from the staff, really what we'd like to do is provide the right materials for you in the pre-read, and then have staff members during each of these conversations illuminate the 2 to 3 most important points very quickly, talk about the things that they need help on or they're grappling with, or put a question out there, and then open the discussion for the board, and really open it up for questions from the board and discussion from the board. We tried this during the safety and security meeting the other day and felt like the board was deeply engaged in discussion. And so we'd like to do the same thing here and start practicing this at our September board meeting. Allison, did I miss anything there?
No, but it'd be interesting if anyone on the executive committee has advice for us about how we communicate to board members about the goal of that change, to make sure that everyone is prepared for that. And to the extent that we can get board members to do the pre-read in advance and send management questions in advance, then that can become part of management's kind of verbal presentation to the board when we switch to that topic. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts.
I think
When
it's a
y'all
good,
s-
I think it's a good goal.
I think it's a great goal. I think I do agree that it worked really well. And if you need a whip, I'm gonna volunteer Gene Austin.
Ah! Yeah,
I'm widely known to be the evil person, so happy to exalt the virtues of preparation for the meeting. I'm sure I can do that, but let's go chase it as a team. That would be my suggestion.
it's such a big board, it's gonna be very hard to get a unanimity or unanimous review of all this material. So you're just gonna have people coming in that aren't as prepared. It's such a big board.
Is there a way when you send out the pre-read that you can ask people to submit their questions by a certain time? And like, I mean, the implication being like that you're going to prioritize it. Well, everybody will have a chance to ask questions, but we're going to prioritize answering those. Because I think one of the things that I heard in the governance call downs that we did at the end of the year was just we never have enough time in the meetings. People want more. Some people in particular want more time for discussion. And so I think it's sort of a carrot rather than a stick. But I do think like trying to get the questions early, like not too early, but also soon enough that y'all can prep and then incorporate into your talk track. And then opening it up, but with, the same limited amount of time that we always have, that might prove some incentive over time. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. We will do that. Thank you, Gretchen. And the focus of this board meeting will really primarily be on academic results. We will have our STAR data in by then. We already have it. Headline is we're not happy. We declined slightly from last year. And so it's a different test, but we're still not where we want to be. And so we're going to spend a lot of time on that and talking about like what we saw in the data, why we think that happened, and what we're doing as a result. We also want the board to walk away with a way to tell the story to the community and to funders in a way that is transparent and simple. So we are going to leave the board with messaging on here is what we're saying to our team and family. Here's what we're saying to our families. Here's what we encourage you to say to the community. And of course, make ourselves available to have any deeper conversations. So that's our hope for that time. And that will be the focus of the board meeting. We will also do a CEO report because we think that's important. And that will be a little bit more of a report than a discussion. And it will focus on here's what we have seen in the first 21 days of school from an enrollment perspective, from a talent perspective, from a culture perspective in the classroom. And we'll share what parts of our first 21-day rubric that we have where we're measuring progress, but we won't go into the entire rubric because it's very, very, you got to kind of have to be a school wonk to understand it. So we'll share the high level results with you all. And then we'll do the academic deep dive. We always have a finance update. We have our first rating. Congrats to Sun. We got a 98 on our first rating. That's good news. We'll also want to follow up with the board on the capital budget discussion on our CapEx because we brought that discussion in June and we had promised to follow up. So that will span both finance and advancement. And then we'll spend some time talking about the growth plan. We're actually not going to spend time talking about fundraising. We'll just put it in the pre-read. And that's really the bulk of the meeting. After that, we have executive session and then the consent agenda. I'll show you guys. We don't really have a lot on the consent agenda now, but don't worry, it will get full by the time this board meeting comes around. So you can expect that. And that is it. So would love any of your thoughts and feedback on how to make this board meeting really effective and engaging and making sure that it's on the right topics.
I think it looks good.
I really like the prioritization on academics, and I think that's going to go over really well. That was another theme that really came out of, again, like at least the calls that I did at the end of the year, is people want to understand more. I wonder if there's something that you can do for all of us, the new people, but I think all of us, like by maybe, since it's the first time we're going through this year and we have at least one new person, is there like a glossary of academic terms or something that y'all can include just as a cheat sheet? Because I think that will help people in the pre-read try to make sense of the information and maybe frame up better questions. I think last year with Dr. Harp, it really got better, but like, I know I always got really lost in the Daphne stuff because I don't live in that world, and I'm suspecting I'm not the only one. So the more you can Dr. Seuss it for us, I think the better and the better the discussion will be too, where people can really focus in on the important things when you guys bring those up.
So one of the things that my board asked me to do was use the bright yellow highlighter. I don't know, Gretchen, whether this helps or not, but like on some of my dashboards, when I show it, to like highlight what data points I would look at when I was looking at the report as the leader of the organization. Because then it tells them these are the 5 important numbers or facts or scores on this paper. Focus your eyeballs here.
Yep.
So I don't know if you give Seba an example of like, well, what's an item that you mean you don't know? Is it more like, I don't know which score to focus on, or?
I think which score, I think also when we get into just talking about like the different aspects of reading and the different aspects of math, there's a bunch of abbreviations and terminology that gets thrown around. And so I think some of those things too, that ladder up to what the result means, if we're trying to pick the result apart, like anything that we're going to need to better understand the headlines. And I can go through and suggest some examples from the past if that's useful, but I feel like just trying to help people demystify it would be really good.
Yeah,
we may draft you as the team is like
Okay.
putting the materials together to just do a quick look over of that, then of like, okay, here's where it.
Yep. And I think just also really thinking about, and I think Dr. Harp was good at this last year, but where do we want people to focus? Where do you want the discussion to go? And then get people's eyes. Like Allison, I love your highlighter suggestion. And I actually think like Sun and team do a really good job of that in finance, of getting our eyes on like, what are the debt covenant service ratios and all those things. So like, what's the analog to that for academics?
yeah, and I think that hopefully what we're going to be able to do is we have that board scorecard and it's so big, right? There's so much on it. I might actually suggest scrapping it. No, that's a lot, or maybe using it as an appendix, but instead use the set of goals that we've put forward to the organization and always talk about those goals, because it's a 1-page document and it's the most important things for us that we're tracking. And we've committed to being very transparent about that data on a monthly basis with the entire organization. And so that may be just a cleaner look to say, well, Gretchen, there are like 26 things you could look at for academic performance, but here are the 2 that we're focused on as an organization because we think that they're the most important.
I think that's the right way to orient the board, is on your goals. We should all be focused on what you are very focused on.
Yeah. Okay.
And I feel like the board scorecard right now, I like keeping it, but moving it to backup. It's kind of depressing right now anyway. And so I think we got to like get out of that into like what are we doing and what are the important things to focus on, just try and move the needle on some of those metrics.
Yeah, I mean, Sun's financial scorecard, which you put in the chat, I think is a great template on education. Perhaps.
Okay, well, let me play around with that. I'm meeting with the team on Friday to talk about my thoughts on it. So let me play around with that. I wonder if I can even pull up our goals real quick because I was just looking at them in another document. Okay, so let me just share this really fast with you all. Never mind that it says state of the state, because I'm presenting it tomorrow to our team and family. But these are our goals, right? These are the goals that we brought to you in June. And so what I'm suggesting is these are the most important things for you as a board to be able to talk to. How are we doing with getting kids to four-year college, not to college, to four-year college? How are we doing with our ACT scores? How are we doing with APIB exams? Because we know they're a predictor of college success. STAR is an obvious one, but before a STAR comes reading on grade level, right? So these are just the small handful of measures that we think as an executive team are the most important things to measure across the organization. And so I'm wondering if this is what we focus your eye on, and our presentations focused around that. You'll see that MAP scores aren't on here because we think that they are helpful in helping us with growth measures and some achievement measures. But these are the gold star measures that we want to go after.
Yeah, I think there'll be, I don't think the 90, 75, 40 will be understood.
We'll explain that.
Yeah,
And we'll have a specific target for this year that we'd like to meet, because we don't think that we're going to meet we know we're not going to meet this year 90% of schools earning a 90, 75, 40. And we'll have in the glossary what 90, 75, 40 means, or in a backup sheet.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that this simplicity and rigor will be helpful to you all.
I think this is the right direction. Just like Son has, and this compares really well to financial performance metrics for the Son. And I think just like he has some must meets in terms of, I think we also need to have some indication. I don't want to make this complex. I think there's beauty in the simplicity, but there is like schools in F rating and stuff like that. I mean, where we're at risk of losing our charter. I think that needs to be one line. Well, give me a
That's like
sec.
a risk,
Just
that's
give
a
me
risk
sec.
dashboard in addition to kind of the goals dashboard.
Our star analyst is in his last day today, leaving at 5 p.m. Give me literally 1 minute to say bye-bye and thanks.
Yeah, so let me think about that too. Okay, this is really helpful, and I know that we're a little bit over time, but I really appreciate this feedback. And thank you, Gretchen, for volunteering to help us make sure our presentation is easy to understand.
Always.
way to go, Gretchen.
Woo!
I know.
We knew we could count on you.
Communication strategy, right? I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
How do we do it, Gretchen? Get everybody on board.
Now, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere.
I love it.
I think that's it, Allison.
All right, I think that we can be adjourned. It's 5:04 p.m. Thanks for the extra minutes and for everybody's attention and creativeness. So I think we're adjourned. We'll see you all soon.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.